This is an area of heavy industry where India sees opportunities for massive growth over the next 10 or 15 years, and where the Indians are convinced they have a huge edge over China.
Outside, away from the intense heat, I hear some fighting talk from the marketing director. India can catch up and then overtake China.
And I don't think China can sustain this kind of high growth rate here for next 3 to 5 years.
Is India
While India's growth rate for last year was 8.5% GDP, the current year has begun with 9.5% in first 2 months. And I think as we go along, we see acceleration of the growth rate as all the industry segments are growing simultaneously. So we expect at least to close up the gap between China and India in next 3 to 5 years.
And that optimism, justified or not, fits with a confident mood in Mumbai, seaside city of property prices going sky high, where Tarun Tadani, the entrepreneur, is just one of thousands out to enjoy the good times. You can see more of India's potential strengths at the cinema too. Freedom for its people, freedom of expression, and in politics. Tarun thrives on ideas, and at the cinema he can choose between India's best Bollywood films and anything else from around the world. Could democracy prove a winner? In stark contrast, for Billy Wang, the Shanghai shoemaker, for all China's people, freedom is heavily restricted. Film, newspapers, the internet, all strictly controlled. Any dissent is punished harshly, but if a growing middle class demands freedom to match rising wealth, then China will hit real trouble. But for now, Billy Wang and China's hugely expanding middle class seem largely content, as far as one can tell. Economic growth must come first. Let's not jump from the known, a one-party state, to the unknown, democracy.
I think we can't really jump, to another side. I think the best thing or the better strategy, for the government today here is that to maintain the momentum for economic growth. And the creation of the middle class, or you created more job opportunity for most of the people, and also the reduction of the poverty or something like that. And then I think the party themselves respond, to the growing demand, from the middle class, from the society. I think there is a way out eventually.
Back in India, you can see how people might question what democracy has done for them. The country still looks creaky, antiquated, under-equipped. But if India is moving slower than China, most Indians I spoke to see their democracy as a big long-term asset, a winner over time. And the fact these trains are so overcrowded with people on their way to work points to another intriguing possibility. With its population growing twice as fast as China's, India may actually be in better shape for the next stages in the race.
India's huge and expanding population used to be seen as a burden to this country, a brake on its phenomenal growth, simply too many mouths to feed. Not anymore. There's been a radical rethink. Instead, it's China which may have the problem with a stable but aging population. This vibrant young country is seen pulling huge numbers of people into an expanding working population, able to fuel phenomenal growth in the years to come. It's now being seen within India that when its population passes that of China, it may actually give it a winning edge in the race to the top of the world.
Leaving the cities of India and China behind, I'm travelling into the countryside to see how the race to the top of the world looks in the vast interior of each country. It's here that the majority of both India and China's people struggle to survive off the land. As the two countries compete for future dominance of the world economy, both face huge challenges to ensure the hundreds of millions of people in their rural population are not left out of the growing prosperity. For now, far too many people, especially in India, are trapped in relentless poverty which excludes them from the new wealth. Bhagyama is one of India's many farm widows. She and her daughter struggle to survive. This part of Andhra Pradesh, dogged by drought, offers very little to sustain farming communities. Bhagyama's husband followed an all too frequent path here. He drank pesticide to escape crop failure.
He couldn't pay his debts. He didn't know what to do. That's why he killed himself. I'm so desperate, we may end up doing the same.
But surely there must be some chance your daughters will have a better life.
My children will also have to be labourers like me, because there are no opportunities here. I hope to get them married, but I don't have the money for the dowry. I can't afford it, and I have no support from my family.
And India's answer to Bhagyama's plight? Well, she's now joined a huge government job creation scheme, guaranteeing her 100 days' pay each year. But for India as a whole, more radical solutions are needed, giving people new skills and persuading them to leave the land and fill jobs in industry instead. China has pursued that path with much greater vigour. This is just one rural household turned upside down by a radical and divisive policy. It's delivering real results and shifting tens of thousands out of the fields, but at considerable cost. Tsai Jin-fu has only a few days left to work his land. The Chinese authorities are taking it to make way for a new factory. He and his wife took me to the edge of his fields, where rubble is all that remains of their neighbours' homes. This whole village is being destroyed, like so many others across China.